right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Highway U Studio. I was just thinking about that before I hopped on here. I thought, what do we call this? Well, you are in the Highway U Studio right now, and I am Tanya Wells, and I'm glad you're either here watching us live or maybe you'll catch a recording. But today we're going to talk about my first book, The Power of Heart Conversations. Let me see here. Whoops, there we go. The Power of Heart Conversations. And you'll learn a little bit more of what that is about with me and my guest, Samantha Morgan. I'm going to bring her on here in just a few minutes. When I heard that she had really dove into the book, and, you know, I don't know. If you've ever authored something or you've done something like this before, maybe it's not a surprise to you. But when I'm in it and I'm putting pen to paper and I'm actually writing a this book and living this life, I don't know how it's going to affect other people. And when I began to hear how Samantha was talking about the impact that it had on her life, I was like, oh my goodness, we need to talk about this. So let me bring on Samantha. Hey, Samantha.
Hey, Tanya.
Hey, now do you go by Sam or Samantha or both?
I don't
Or
really have a preference anymore. It used to be Sam or Sammy, never Samantha, but now I kind of like it. So,
okay,
yeah, I don't have a preference anymore.
okay, okay. Well, thanks for
Mhm.
saying yes. Thanks for saying yes and hopping on here with me. I just
Uh,
want to have a very casual conversation and really for both of us just to draw the best out of each of us as it comes to what we're learning about how our internal world really does affect and shape how we experience what's going on around us. And
mhm.
for for when I say for the good or the bad, maybe that's not the best way to say it. For either creating drama or learning how to really.
Live in freedom and expand
Yes.
beyond and really tap into our potential, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. See, I knew we can finish each other's sentence. That's good. That's good. Well, I know you and I don't know each other really, really well, but
Mhm.
what can you give me and our viewers a snapshot of how you were um, kind of trying to manage and maneuver through your thoughts and your emotions and when things would trigger or just what was that internal life like before the Power of Heart conversations, and then we'll dive in to what you've
Okay.
learned.
Yeah. Well, I had gone through some very hard things in the last couple of years. And I've always been into like self development and like growth work and inner work, but it was always just trapped like in my head. And like I would fill my
Mm-hmm.
head with the knowledge, like I knew about like defense mechanisms and like fight, flight,
Mm-hmm.
fawn and freeze, these
Mm-hmm.
things. But it was just like so stuck in my head and I had no way to apply it. And like I would find other people who kind of knew about it, but it didn't seem like it seemed like they were in the same boat as me, that we were just readers of the information and we weren't quite practitioners yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like it just felt exhausting. Like I would try to connect with people, but we were still kind of just like kind of bonding on the trauma and just the response itself instead of
Mm-hmm.
breaking free from it. So it was just kind of just like it felt like a dead end. And that was just and a lot of things, it just still stayed very surface. And I was just like, well, my heart, I have so much that's heavy on my heart. And I like, that's why I loved when you told they mentioned your book and like
Yeah.
the title even, I was just like, this is like speaking my language. I
Mm.
just felt it in the timing and everything. I was like, this is like really what's been going on in my heart. But now there's somebody out there who speaks the language, but has a practice for it,
Mm-hmm.
has an application for it. And that just really lifted my spirit a lot. And it just really inspired me. And I was like, yes, like I want to read this book. There's got to be an application instead of just keeping it so stuck in my head and just being this knowledge that I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
apply. So it was just really exciting. I was so excited about it, and I just loved every page that I got to read. So, um,
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
let's pause there just a moment because I was listening to your language and I was even watching your body language, and this is so powerful because you're right. It's easy to take in a lot of information. And even when we desire to grow, and even when we're seekers of the self help in the way of we want to grow as a person, I know sometimes people in the church might not understand that language. We're not saying to put self before God. We're saying, it's Jesus when he said, that you think the problem's in somebody else. And he said, it's really a beam in your own eye. And he said,
Mhm.
you're failing to see it. And he said, first, take the beam out of your own eye. Then you will be
Right.
able to see. And I've always
Mhm.
wanted to say, Jesus taught self help, in the way that you and I are talking about this here. So if
Mhm.
anybody had trouble with that word, this is what we're talking about. How can we
Yeah.
free up and allow Christ to shine so much through us because we're not blaming everybody else? And when we're up in our heads, so going back to what you were saying, we can learn and learn and learn, but it's the heart that really not only transforms, but it's the heart that allows the integration or not the application or the living out, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because these two are connected, or
Exactly. Yeah.
they're to be connected,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's hard when everything is just right up here and there's a disconnect, right?
Yeah, and then everything's kind of out of alignment, and like the state of your heart, like it is the seat of the soul. It's your
Mm-hmm.
subconscious. It's the unseen, and that's what I loved
Mm-hmm.
about the language too. Is like it all starts from the unseen, and we tend to blame and point the finger outside of us, and that's like another quote from your book is like what innate anything in nature does it grow from the outside in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, yes, I love that so much because it's just
Mm-hmm.
true. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we tend to seek answers outside of ourselves or like use
Mm-hmm.
blame to take away our accountability
Yeah.
and like as a shield or a protected to protect us. But I mean, in the end, it's like it feels that way, like it's a protect. You're protecting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you're actually harming yourself and others in the process, and you're not seeing other people clearly or yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's
Well, that I'm gonna pause on that because that's great right there.
Mhm.
You're not seeing yourself clearly, and you're not seeing others clearly. That is
Mhm.
exactly right.
Yeah, and
Ex-
it just, I mean, the state of your heart will really color the way that you experience reality, you know? Like
mm-hmm.
if you're harboring hatred against your brother or
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes like, yeah, like well they did this and this and this, but like I still have to own my part in it and my emotions and like, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have to do something about that and it's not necessarily about the other, but
Right.
maybe there's that interaction that will have to happen to maybe solve that, right? Because we do have to
Absolutely.
interact with other people and we have to learn how to be in unity or not, you know? So,
Yes.
and that's like the big thing too, is I want deeper connections with people and I want to have these hard conversations because ultimately, like to have, it gets to the root of the issue and it's
Mm-hmm.
also honest. It lets us be honest and it takes away the mask and we don't have to be armored and defensive all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that. Like that's one of my big things is to just breathe and be vulnerable with other people and it be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just love it. I just love it because I've definitely been like the language of like the defense mechanisms. I was stuck in that for most of my life. And then now that I've been growing with Christ and like applying these things that I know, like finally know how to apply them, I've unlocked like different nuances and gradients of emotion that I didn't necessarily have
Mm-hmm.
before, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now I have like even more of like an abundant experience to draw from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I now I can tell the difference between these things and I can tell where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can take more ownership of that. And then also take that like that burden off of other people too. Because like I
Yeah.
used to, it's kind of it can feel burdensome to like take on other people's projections or not own your own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really liberating for me to feel those new emotions and like experience them and then be able to differentiate them from defense mechanisms and like more abundant life.
Right.
through those things. But it's like you had to go, like I had to have those things to know the other things. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you don't recognize when you're in that stress survival states and you don't recognize when you're being in those defensive states and those self-protective states, how can you know to let that go so that
mhm,
God can show you what life is really like without that,
right.
and
Hmm.
because if you don't recognize it, I'm going to go back to my statement that I made earlier that Jesus said it really is a beam in our perception because we
Mm,
fail to see that it's there. It's so
right.
close
Hmm.
that we think that a portion of that, a speck of that, really is outside of us, and it's not. It's
Right.
right here in our own perception. And so until we can create some safety, which allows us to create some space to take a
Hmm.
look at that, I love how you were saying that. It helps differentiate so you know what do I need to let go of? What what do I what do I realize that God might be stirring up, so to speak, because my body just wants to be free of this anger. It wants to be
Hmm.
free of the unforgiveness. It wants to be free of always feeling like I have to cower down or whatever it may.
Right. Yeah. Because it shows up in so many different ways. Like, I mean, feeling small, not being able to make eye contact, like I had commented on one of your
Mm-hmm.
posts, like, or it can come out in just a lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings. And then it just like keeps swirling, and you're just like, I can't make sense of any of this. And it just you kind of get trapped in it. And it's like, yeah, like it's like you can't see your nose on your face, and like
Right.
focus can be,
Right.
and if you're focusing too much on something, maybe you're only focusing on your nose, but not your whole being. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
wild because I've definitely like the contrast of that has been eye opening too. Because like I can see the contrast of that throughout my entire day if I'm like aware enough.
Yes.
And that's like the
Yeah.
big thing is like unlocking that awareness. And sometimes that's painful because like sometimes we don't want to look at it because it
I
kind of
know.
feels like icky, or maybe we have a label attached to it. It's like, oh well, if I
Mm-hmm.
do that thing, then it makes me bad, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So, and
Mm-hmm.
then just to be able to strip those things and just to see things for what they are is just so liberating. And it's freedom. It's freedom to be able to just let things be as they are and to navigate the world in an authentic way without like beating yourself up or beating other people up in the process.
Right. Neither one of those do any good, do they?
No, they
And they
don't.
keep us stuck. If anything, they keep us living below so much, so
Yeah.
below what we were created to live.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what, what, what drew you to? I know you said the title drew you to the book, but you had shared with me in the green room before we started our live stream. You had said that you got hooked. Tell me what hooked you
Well,
with the book.
what hooked me for sure was, I mean, I loved also just like how you added scripture and then kind of flowed off what that meant in
Mm-hmm.
relation to the book. And like just where is it, let's see. Hmm, I mean, all of it's just so good. um but
Well,
it's
you're
just like getting
go ahead.
that god-given identity, right? And it's like
Right,
it's a present reality that we can tap into.
right,
And I was like, yes, like that's what I want to get touch, and I want to experience is like that faith, that because every heart conversation, I was thinking to myself, it's like every heart conversation is a profound act of faith. And like
mm. Mm-hmm.
um and I just love that so much. And plus like the motto here, I
Mm-hmm.
have nothing to prove but everything to become, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And that really, like, I was like, I love that so much because I was like thinking, because every year I kind of like have like a motto or
Mm-hmm.
something that I kind of cling
Mm-hmm.
to for the year. And I didn't really have one, and I was just like, that is perfect because I've spent some time, trying to like prove my worth to other people. And then I was
Right.
like, you know what? That sounds solid. Like, I don't have to do that anymore. And now I can learn how not to do that. Like, and actually tell myself that and affirm it to myself. So I
Yes.
was like, there's already the first tool, like within the first page, like a couple pages. I was like, there's the tool, like right there, The first tool is
Mm-hmm.
just right there in my face. And I just thought that was amazing. You didn't have to go far to like already have a tool to utilize in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's another thing too is when I've done like I've read tons of books on defense mechanisms and fight, but they didn't really like it was just like, oh, like how this works and whatever. But I didn't
Right.
have anything like nobody could relay an experience they had like you did in your book that
Okay.
went into those dynamics. So I was just like, well, that's not very helpful.
Right.
So yeah,
They were just given
yeah.
information, right? And
Mhm,
information
yeah.
can only go really go here.
Mhm. And like
Wow.
I felt seen by it because like there was just different things because like a lot of time people kind of dismiss how we feel like oh well it's like
Mm-hmm.
facts over feelings or whatever but like
Mm-hmm.
have them for a reason like God is a person too and he's an emotional being and like they're there for a reason they're markers of something regardless if we label them negative or bad or not
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I don't know I just felt seen by it because I was like I really want to have these hard conversations I want to like show people what's in my heart even if it's because then if it's like something that needs to change then if somebody like I can reveal it and it can be brought
Mm-hmm.
into the light and kind of you know change.
Yes. Yes. You said something there, and let me see if I can. I had it. Let me see if I can capture it again. Um, right before the heart conversation, you said something. Oh, about the feelings. Yes, that was something I really wanted to drive home because as one of growing up in church all my life and living and I think I talk about this different denominations and things and everyone had their
Mhm.
own idea of what the feelings were as it related to our spiritual growth
Right.
and often in the circles I was in, they didn't know what to do with them. So they wanted to dismiss anything that was fear based or anything that seemed to be in that negative category. And I get the
Mhm.
positive intent behind it. But what they
Right.
failed to understand was that when we feel something inside, it's an indicator to what heart conversation we're having that we might not even be aware of. And what
Right.
we mean by that heart conversation is we're talking about what our head and our heart are communicating, what's
Mhm.
communicating here. And so that feeling is that awareness that something's off, something's out of alignment, something is
Mhm.
something very fearful, something old, something got stirred up. And so if we dismiss those right away, we just suppress it, we shut it down, or we react, and then we might feel good at the moment because we've vented some steam or we've suppressed it back down, but the body is still carrying it subconsciously. Our heart is still like, you didn't let me release, you didn't let me let this go, you didn't forgive yourself, you didn't forgive
Mhm.
them, I'm stirring this, I know it's uncomfortable. And so we didn't know what to do with feelings. And I really wanted to make sure I brought that out in the book
Mhm.
that I understand why many in the church, and even still to this day, um, shun negative feelings, but they're indicators. And I think you use that word too. They're indicators
Mhm.
of something that's going on inside. And can we surrender
Mhm.
that and look
Right. Yeah.
at it with the Lord and say, hey, let's take a look at this because if it's not
Mhm.
in your temple, I don't want it in mine, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, is it also blocking my connection with you? Like, is it like a
Right.
belief or a thought pattern that is inaccurate? Like, or is it? Am I hurt by something that hasn't been acknowledged, or am I just not even acknowledging it for whatever reason? And that shows up in so many ways, like maybe by the way we treat each other or ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like we got to bring that to the light and let people in to see it and be vulnerable to even have any kind of transformation. And that's what I loved about it too in the beginning of your book is like the points on repentance because I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe like true repentance brings true
Mm-hmm.
transformation
Mm-hmm.
and like just bringing like, it's healthy to own our feelings and emotions, even if they are deemed negative by our
Right.
culture and society, because
Right.
like it's just like it's honest. And even if like, I mean, a lot of like what Jesus went through was painful, and that's like something that like I love about him so much, is like the path that he had to walk, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I may not have had like to be hung on a cross and my mother crying at my feet, but like I can kind of relate that into a way because of what happened with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And that just like that human reality that we do experience pain, and that needs to
Mm-hmm.
be acknowledged. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's what makes us beautiful and human, is that acknowledgement of like our emotional reality, and that we all suffer in some way, either by circumstance or by our own doing.
Right.
So, and that makes us more like relatable to each other, because like when we can't like just be like, yeah, like I've been through that too, because that's like a lot of things. Like, I mean, I've been through some things that I haven't met anybody else who's gone through, but like there's still people out there who are like, wow, I can see how that affected you. And
Mm-hmm.
that like really lightens my load in a way, to be
Mm-hmm.
seen,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's like, oh, that's like scary, that's dark, but it's like, but I'm struggling in this alone now, because you're so like everybody's so fearful of it, and I'm like, well, I'm in it.
Right.
So is anybody out there who will meet me in this? you
Mm-hmm.
know and that's what
Mm-hmm.
like really has brought me further in my walk with Christ, because I know that I'm not alone in it, because he's with me. But then like through your book, I was like, she's had similar experiences, as me, in
Mm-hmm.
relation to others, and
Mm-hmm.
keeping yourself small in certain circumstances, or like listening to others, like people pleasing and other things like that.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it was just honest, and I just like felt that refreshing, because like I've done grief share and things like that, and I wanted to just dive deeper and just like really just open up to like how it truly feels in grief.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just, oh, you can't
Mm-hmm.
go there. You
Right.
can't touch that. Like, that's a little, but that's what I needed. And
Right.
it was just like, because I've definitely worked through a lot of it, and but then like when I got this book, I was like, this is perfect, because I'm like nearing the end, but now I can really apply what I've been through, and come out the other end, and feel and breathe,
Oh, I
and
like that
not feel
line.
like
I like
alienated
that.
by
Yes.
my experiences, because that's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
thing too, is like when we don't honor our emotions or express them to other people, we're kind of hiding a part of ourselves from others. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's not really authentic, coming out authentic.
Right.
So yeah, like it was just nice to just finally like be like, okay, so what I'm going through does make sense,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And that's the key
And
right there, going through,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Going
Yeah.
through.
Hmm.
Going through. Everything is through because everything is moving toward healing and wholeness. And actually, in the book, we talk about how rather than it like coming from outer space somewhere to us, it's actually being
Right.
revealed through us.
Hmm.
It's all
Hmm.
of this, the hurt, the pain, the disconnection, the not seeing things correctly, and just layering and
Hmm.
layering and layering that self protection and all of that. This is what God is he's saying, let's get rid of that, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll expose me. It'll expose
Right.
the
Hmm.
Christ in us, right? And
Hmm.
so everything that Samantha and I are talking about here, as it relates to the emotions, we keep them. Some people keep them bottled up. Some people, they're still bottled up if they're even lashing out at other people, and because they're not free. You use that word several times, Samantha.
Hmm.
They're not free, and everything that God wants to do is move us toward greater and greater levels of freedom and healing and wholeness. And then we become that more and more and more, to the.
Hmm. Hmm. And just like, and yeah, just stepping into that, like, and realizing that, I mean, it's an ever present reality that we can tap into.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
sometimes it's hard though, for sure, because like I know that I used to have kind of I kind of enjoyed my melancholy, I guess. It
Okay.
made me feel important in a way. Like
Mm-hmm.
like my sense of identity kind of was shaped off my pain for a while. Like it just like I like clung to it so deeply because
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
intense and it was, I
Yes.
don't know. But now that I'm like have just healed a lot from it and seen the other side, it's just that's not like wow, I can't believe I was just stuck in that like limiting like sense of myself and
Mm-hmm.
other people. Like and then because like oh if people didn't relate, like that's also the thing that I learned too is like well yeah, but I was also limiting myself because like oh because other people can't relate to my pain, then I'm gonna make myself small and like limit my own expression because oh nobody's gonna understand it, like I'm just so special or this
Yeah.
or that, so it was just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like just so then I was like closing myself off from connection in that way too because I
Mm-hmm.
was just like clinging to those old stories because I felt like that's what made me who I was, and it's not. Even though it's a big part
That's
of who I've been and how I became who I am, but it's
right.
not the whole story, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. There are so many people that have made their pain their identity. And I'm glad you can
Mhm.
give voice to that because you're definitely not alone in that. And you're right,
Yeah.
because it's like, who am I without this pain?
Mhm.
I see these
Right.
promises, I see what scripture says, I see what other people are experiencing, but whoa, to let go of all of that and to trust that something greater than what I've been able to do to protect myself and actually like you say it's becomes a part of identity, right? Who am
Mhm.
I without it?
Yeah,
And
exactly. And that's like a big question that I've always asked myself, like, well, who am I really? Like without all
right,
of these things.
right,
And then until you were able to like strip away that like
yeah,
shell, you really don't know. So
no. And isn't that a
yeah.
beautiful question when we have the courage to begin to ask that for the Lord to show us who we really are? Because that's a
Hmm.
question, as he, I think I can just see a smile, up on his face when he says,
Yeah.
yes, because now you're going to start letting go of being this false persona.
Right.
That's not the real
Mhm.
you. Sometimes we say, well,
Yeah.
this is
I
just
mean, that,
me. This is just who I am. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
people they don't know what they're saying when they pridefully say that. I'm thinking, that's, no, you don't, because you are so much more than you're living right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's what like is so, I mean, it's so disarming. Christ is just so disarming in that way. But and if you're in defense though, it can be he can be arming in a way because it's like when he comes to you, it's like you got to drop the mask. You
Mm-hmm.
can't keep up this act. Like
Mm-hmm.
I see you for who you are, and you just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to see it either. Like, and it's just like he just
Right.
waits. He just waits and like just waiting for it, and it's like, oh well, I already seen what's underneath.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Right.
Then
Right.
you're like, I don't want to see it though. I don't want to look at it. Like no. And that's like he holds up a mirror to you, and
Right.
then like, well,
Uh-huh.
how dirty is that mirror that you're looking at? Because like that's
Mm-hmm.
why I just love to see through his eyes how
Mm-hmm.
beautiful that really is. Because like
Yes.
we're all children of God, right?
Yes.
We're
Yes.
all he makes no God makes no mistakes, and to really like live that and embody it. I mean, I don't think we'll ever really be there and hit that like 0 point, right? Or that
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
totality. And like even like the pursuit of that is also missing the mark in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's just really cool. It's just that journey. It's like
It is.
that relationship, and it's also just like you're building a relationship within yourself that just
Right.
reverberates outward,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't have to like yeah, it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be outward outside in anymore.
No, I think it's impossible. We try really, really
Yeah, it's
hard. It's a
impossible. Yeah.
very hard, laborious thing to do to try to
Mhm.
do it from
There's
the
so,
outside in. You
yeah,
had,
there's
I
so many moving
remember,
parts.
huh? Go
There's so
ahead.
just so many moving parts. Like it's like how can you like
I
yeah,
know. I know.
and then you just feel like being pulled in every direction,
Mm-mm.
and then like I don't feel like it's destabilizing
Well,
and
the wisdom of Christ when he says to consider the lily. I mean,
mhm.
the consider the lily, 3 words. those three words I have pondered and just every once in a while just really take time to picture and meditate upon, because that is the complete opposite of the working so hard and striving so hard to try to get this stuff from here down to here. You don't have
Yeah.
to. It's through the
Hmm.
surrender and the yielded life. But the lily, even though it's a plant, and yes, we are a higher form than plant life, he was still teaching a principle. And he's like, if you'll just yield to the life of God, you will you will unfold, you will blossom, you will bloom, and it
Hmm.
doesn't require you working really hard and sweating and toiling and all of that, you know. And
Right. Yeah. Because it's like when it's like I imagine in my mind like a child, that all it knew its whole life was to like work and toil, and then like
mhm.
you meet Christ, and he's just like, well, put down your tools.
Right.
What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do without my tools? Like, what do you want me to do? Why don't
Right.
you roll down this hill with me? Or, like
Yes. Yes.
let's go get our feet dirty, or,
Yes.
let's go stare at
Yes.
the sun. Like, I don't know, even though you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. But
No,
it's just
that's
like
good.
life can be so fun and full of wonder.
It really
And I think
can.
we lose that. We lose that when we're trapped in, self defense and
Oh, we
old
do.
stories.
Because the heart, Joe Dispenza says the heart, literally, I mean, of course, our heart still beats, but when you shift into survival mode, that everything hunkers down. The heart
Yeah,
closes
contract.
off. It's not time
Mhm.
to be vulnerable. It's not time to be reflective or contemplative. It's not time
Mhm.
to say, whoa, what am I thinking and feeling? It's not that, because you don't feel safe. You've got to
Right.
survive in the moment, right?
Mhm.
So everything
Mhm.
is shutting down, and yeah, yeah, the heart closes off.
Yeah, and like that's another thing that you were talking about too is like I mean our heart like emits maybe
Mm-hmm.
not electromagnetic energy that
Mm-hmm.
can go up to 10 feet, so like if
Mm-hmm.
you're closed in and you're scared and afraid, like I mean people can feel that.
Yes, they
And
can.
like
They
and like we
can.
can even feel like other people, it's just been interesting to even like sit in my own field with
Mm-hmm.
God and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel myself and then like interact with others and feel that contrast of where they're at and where
Mm-hmm.
I may be. And like, it's really helped me in times of like anxiety because sometimes, I mean, in a way, sometimes like stuff does come from outside of us that
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't own, that sometimes
Right.
we can own or people can try to
Mm-hmm.
put on us. And like, especially if we're like people pleasers or we fawn, like that's what
Right.
we'll tend to do is we'll take on other people's stuff and
Right.
then think it's our own stuff, and then that gets really confusing.
It does.
So, yeah.
It does.
Mhm.
It sure does. There was, I'm going to switch gears just a moment.
Yeah.
There was something that you had said when I very first heard you start. I think you were in your first read of the Power of Heart Conversations. We were at the ladies' dinner, and
Mhm.
you were talking about how you were talking about the reflective questions, because I do. I put
Yeah.
a lot of questions of reflection in there. Can you
Mhm.
do you feel like you could share with our listeners a little bit about that? How that really
Well, yeah, because
impacted.
that's another thing that I loved about this book because, a lot of times, like, I'll just be swirling over the same thing, but, like, I'm not getting anywhere with it,
Come a
and
little
it's
bit
hard for me
more
to
toward
kind
the middle. Come,
yeah,
Samantha. Come.
sorry.
There you go. There you go. We're gonna lose
Um,
you. Go ahead.
yeah, but, I don't know, like, I am really good at asking other people questions, but not really myself.
Okay.
So, I was like, "Okay, well, I can read this stuff, but like, how am I gonna, that's also like the application." So I was like, it really helped me be on, like, it disarmored me. And I was like, this is a really good question. And, really being intentional and
Hmm.
just reading that question over and over again, like, helped me, like, really reflect in a way that was, you know, easy. It was
Hmm.
easy for me to do. Like, other times, like, with other people, like, I just, like, it freezes. Like, I just, like, I don't know. or I start overthinking it too much.
Right.
But the way that the questions, the way that you explain things, and it was just such simple language that I think anybody could really understand. And then with the questions, it was just really easy to self reflect on and
Mm-hmm.
really get honest with myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
just really loved that. I valued it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, the reflection and the self-reflection when we learn that it really is safe to take a look at what we're thinking and feeling, that's where the miracles really begin to happen because
Mhm.
we begin to have heart conversations with ourselves. We begin to have heart conversations with God, and when we start having some reflection in this, oh my goodness,
Right.
it opens the door, so to speak, for transformation of the heart. You know that
Hmm.
that can really begin to take place. What what survival strategy would you say is your number one when we talk about? We'll share with the viewers in case they don't know. Fight, fight and fawn. Fawn was a new one for me, but fight and fawn.
Hmm.
They're both seeking connection. The fighter, of course, it kind of doesn't seem like he or she's seeking connection, but they are. They're seeking connection, and the
Hmm.
fawn is the person like myself that where I was such a people pleaser and made my decisions and what I did and what I thought and felt and said based upon what everybody else either needed or what I assumed they needed. So those are
Right.
connection. And then you have the avoiders, those that
Mhm.
are like the hermit that as soon as any kind of stress hits, they want to go hide and bury
Mhm.
themselves, or they are the flight, and we can even take flight in busyness. We can work really hard to take flight
Yeah.
from what we're
Mhm.
thinking and feeling, right? So, which
Mhm.
one of the four would you say is was your number one? And maybe it's still a default when you're really stressed. But what's that number one survival state that you tend to gravitate toward?
I think right now, I mean, I've definitely had different ones in different stages of my life that really were
Mm-hmm.
predominant, like dominant. But right now, like I really struggle with flight and fawn the
Okay.
most. But flight would be the most because like um, I found new independence through my work and everything, and like I'm just like, well, I just don't need to be here. Like I can just leave, and
Okay.
and that's easy, and I can just escape, and like I feel it in my body, like this it's almost like a fast current or like a tornado, almost like just spinning, and it's like feels really fast internally, and I'm just like,
Okay.
ooh, like it just makes my legs want to run. Even it's wild.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
I'll just like I feel like I just can't sit still, and I just need to like escape. Like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Like I'm just gonna go, and that happens a lot. And I was like
Okay.
struggling with that at church recently, and I got through it, but and I found out the source of it, but yeah, and then like fawning, like I definitely have made a lot of decisions based on like what I assumed like maybe other people expected of me,
Mm-hmm.
or just like being too afraid to like say what needs to be said. So I just kind
Mm-hmm.
of submit because that's easier. Like those are like the
Right.
easy things for me
Right.
now. Because like I'd rather just do the easy thing and like kind of deal with the pain and linger in the pain because I'm just so accustomed to that anyways. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't like it, like,
Right.
but I
It's
know pain
familiar
very
though,
well.
right?
Yeah, it's
It's
so familiar.
familiar.
So, but like that, I don't want like the if I confront it, the reactions that I'm not like the uncertainty of what might happen with the new thing that I'm doing and the bravery or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just is in like scary. Like I was talking to my hair girl today, and we were talking about this stuff too, and she's like, it just honestly, like, I'd rather just appease than stand up for myself because it almost feels like, what was the word she used? It almost feels like I'm being like amputated alive or something. Like I was just like, wow, that's a really descriptive.
Yeah.
Because it's just so like she feels it so much in her body that
Mm-hmm.
it's scary to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just like, I'm just
Absolutely.
gonna just keep the peace, the fake peace, because
Right.
like I'm not at peace, but like if I do this, then like everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
So at think that's better. Like nobody has to know that how I feel, and plus maybe I think that nobody cares how I feel anyway. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
easier
that's
to just
it's a tough one, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
but those are the life lessons that we're in. We're learning to have that voice, and like my mother, she reminded me back in the day, um, if we don't pass one of these tests in our lives, like maybe the situation is set up to where we have an opportunity to have a voice in something, and for whatever reason we get scared and we shut back down. It's okay, she'd say, because there'll be another time. You know,
Yeah.
you'll have more and more opportunities.
Well, and it's like a
And
visual, like you know how God like molds us in clay and like the clay spinning wheel. Well, God
yes,
kind of like is spinning us and it, like around. You're almost going around this mountain, or He's just taking you
yeah,
around the spinning wheel and kind of like shaping you. And you'll go back around. Like if it doesn't if you don't go with the flow of what He's shaping you into, then you're just gonna go
right.
back around. You're gonna have to do it again
You'll
and
have
get off
another
on the
opportunity.
edges.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll always come back around, but it'll just show up differently. And are you going to be able to recognize it the next time
Mm-hmm.
around too? Because it will show
Mm-hmm.
up differently through another person or some other
That's
circumstance.
right.
And it's like has there's slim similarities, but it's like a totally different person. And you're just like, because then you'll have other things mixed,
Right.
like different like associations with this new person, and maybe it blindsides you more than it did last time. Like you
Mm-hmm.
never know.
That's
So
true.
it's just,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So true.
Hmm.
Let me show our viewers what book we're talking about right now. We're talking about The Power of Heart Conversations. It's available both on digital format and paperback. Available now on at Amazon. You can get a copy. Um, and I am currently working on a audiobook to that as well. I don't know if you knew that, Sam, but I'm working on an audio copy or a version of it. I really need to get back in the studio so I can finish that up. I've had several people say, "Do you have it?" Because they listen to books now. You know, a lot of people
Yeah,
listen to books. So I am reading it
yeah.
myself. AI is not
Mhm.
reading it because I really
Love
want
it.
people to
Big
hear my
game.
voice, especially with
Yeah,
something like this, you know,
yeah.
especially with something like this. But
Mhm.
I
'Cause
have
especially it has,
worked,
like, some personal stories from your own life, so it's good to hear it from, the
yes,
person that is telling
that's
it.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. I can probably
Mhm.
say it better than anybody else, right? You
Yeah,
know, with
exactly, yeah.
that.
And then we could probably hear the inflections and, like, even how you feel through you
Yes,
retelling it, in those moments when you get to those parts. It would be really interesting to hear for sure.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's coming. That
Yeah.
is coming. Wow. Well, as we begin to wrap up tonight, if you could think of, let's say nobody, let's say they're listening for the first time and they're wondering um, if they should get a copy of this book. Who do you think this? Let me ask a different question. Who do you think this book would really help, and who do you think it would be for?
Well, I definitely think it would be good for people who, maybe, like I said, like what I went through, because I feel like it really, like, I wasn't just a reader, I became a practitioner because I
Mhm.
felt seen through it. And like the way that I felt seen was, let me think here. I just felt stuck. Like I felt
Yeah.
like I had all the knowledge, but I didn't know how to apply it. So it was
Okay.
like
Yes.
intellectual. And like wanted to just get to the deeper roots of things. And I wanted to have more honest and open conversations. And I wanted, you know, just things to transform and change through what was in my heart. And that's the type, if you're like really in your head, stuck in your head, like this might be a really
Hmm.
great book for you to like start getting out of your head and
Hmm.
really applying this in your relationships or to yourself, and just asking yourself those honest questions and starting just to like take that first step to self-reflect and transform your life from the inside out.
Out. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that
Hmm.
sounds good. That's a good closer for this time. You know, I'd like to
Yeah.
maybe we'll pick back up and talk some more about
No, I love that. Yeah. I just really
certain.
appreciate you having me on and everything and getting to chat more.
Oh my goodness,
So,
you're very welcome. Thank you for saying yes, and
mhm.
it's been a joy. It really
Yeah, it
has.
has. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you have a beautiful evening, Samantha. Thank you again. I'm going to
Hmm.
hop back on and close us out, but
Okay.
thank you
Alrighty.
so
Good night,
much.
Tanya. Thank you so much too. Yep.
You're
Go get the
welcome.
book.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Sam.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Mhm.
Sam.
Bye.
Oh, that was a joy. Loved having Samantha with us. She's young. I meant to ask how old she was. I'm not sure, but that's. I have readers that seem to oh uh, be on the gamut of up in their upper 80s, enjoying the book, as well as in their 20s or 30s, and I never would have thought that. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. And again, if you want to get a copy of The Power of Heart Conversations, you can do that right now on Amazon. If you know me personally and live in my area and our paths cross, you are welcome to reach out and say, Tanya, you have any paperback copies on hand? And you can purchase a copy from me. All right. All right. Have a great evening. Have a great day whenever you're watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye bye, everyone.